How are you gonna try and audition for Baywatch, get the part, and still not end up in the final movie? My song ended up in the final movie. Where were you? Oh yeah, deleted scenes.
Someone actually wants my advice? Hold this, Fezwick. I need to go make a video. And remember, no means no. Today, we're going to look at the science and benefits behind 3 supplements which you can take to promote recovery, health, strength, and endurance. And even if you aren't fighting KSI, don't worry. The stuff we are going to look at can benefit pretty much any physical activity. Going into this, I wasn't sure what to think, but by the end I realized Logan Paul might not be as clueless as we all thought. If you watch till the end, you'll realize what I mean. Recovery is first and important, especially if you are training intensively, such as for a track meet, sports game, or even a boxing match. When you start training, you are subjecting your muscles to forces they aren't used to. These forces result in activation of growth sensors, as well as micro tears in the fibers. Your body responds to this increased strength demand by turning on something called protein synthesis, which is a scientific way of saying it begins adding muscle to your body, repairing the micro tears and thickening up the muscle fibers. It is called protein synthesis because it is creating new muscle out of protein which we get through our diet. Before beginning training, someone like Logan Paul would just need to meet the World Health Organization recommended protein intake for sedentary people, which is 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body mass. Once you start training though, these requirements increase. Aerobic endurance training has been proven to increase the amount of protein you need by between 50 and 75%. This includes running on the treadmill or any endurance activity that lasts more than a few minutes. Boxing also demands sudden bouts of power and strength. These more intense strength-based training sessions can up your body's ideal protein intake even more, to over 100% of the recommended daily intake for a typical person. And while Logan Paul hasn't told us a ton about his diet other than bragging about being corn-fed,
I'm a corn-fed Ohio boy.
The amount of protein in corn is very low, which could make it difficult to meet these higher protein requirements, which, assuming a weight of 200 pounds, would be a recommended protein intake of 360 grams. Mixing in a high-quality whey protein supplement could help him fill in this gap if he noticed he wasn't getting enough through his diet. Okay, so now we've got the protein covered. This will ensure that his recovery isn't limited by a lack of available protein. Next is strength. Now, one of the staple strength supplements is creatine. There's a lot of confusion on creatine, despite it being so well researched. Creatine won't increase your peak 1 rep max strength or add fibers to your muscles. When creatine is ingested, your body pairs it up with water molecules and shuttles it into storage in your muscles, where it is used as fuel. Creatine phosphate is used in the phosphagen energy generation system, the generation system your muscles use after a couple of seconds of exertion and keep using till about 10 seconds in. This system can deliver more energy than the weaker systems, which kick in after the creatine runs out, and is why your 3 rep max weight is so much heavier than your 10 rep max weight. When you ingest creatine, you boost up your body's supply, increasing your strength reserves, and in theory, meaning you could lay in weight, and when you choose to deliver a sudden intense combo, it should be a bit more powerful. Creatine is also used for fuel in the brain, and studies have shown it increases cognitive ability, including the ability to think of words, which Logan could use some help with also for the trash talk. The third supplement I was researching was intended to help combat one of the biggest issues that fighters face, gassing out. But it was during my research for this segment that the video took a turn. when something I stumbled upon blew my mind. We've all seen it before. A fighter is full of energy in the first round, but as the rounds go by, they seem to be more and more exhausted. There are whole boxing strategies which revolve around this. It's the age-old, let your opponent tire themselves out, then finish them off quickly mentality. If Logan wanted to avoid falling into this trap, he would need to look at maximizing his metabolic efficiency. In simple terms, intelligently planning how he uses his body's energy supply. We've talked about creatine and how it can bolster the energy system which kicks in first. But what about the rest of the match? The body has 3 energy systems. The ATP-CP system, which we talked about, delivers a rush of power initially, and then begins recovering for its next demand. When it does this, the anaerobic system kicks in, which is the next most powerful. It can go flat out for about 2 to 3 minutes before it weakens. Once it weakens, the slowest energy system is left doing all the work. The anaerobic system is like doing a 100-meter dash. There's no way that you can keep that speed up. After a couple minutes, you notch down to the aerobic system, which is the equivalent of a jog. If you're in high school, I just helped you ace your bio exam, so you're welcome. Anyway, a boxing match consists of 3-minute rounds broken up by a 1-minute rest period. This means if Logan goes all out, he's going to be fighting through that crucial moment where his body begins to weaken and switch over to the aerobic system, also called gassing out. In boxing, combos and pace changes can come out of nowhere. To avoid gassing out at a critical time, the fighter needs to keep some of that anaerobic power left in the tank. This means 2 things in my mind: not going all out the full time, and doing whatever he can to make sure his anaerobic system is fully fueled. And this is where everything is about to get crazy. Because as it turns out, Logan is already sitting on what might just be one of his biggest advantages. The anaerobic system runs on stored muscle glycogen, which the body gets almost exclusively from the consumption of carbs. Muscle researchers have done studies and found simply eating a diet high in these carbohydrates results in more glycogen being stored in the muscles and more power output, and would delay the moment he would gas out. And what is a source of carbohydrates so potent and pure that food companies actually extract carbs from it when they need extra carbs to add to other foods? Something that is a whopping 87.5% carbs? None other than the very thing Logan Paul himself bragged about including in his diet all along: corn. Until next time, D-Man, signing off.